Today we're going to talk about the benefits of adding cooking to your homeschool if you have not. All right, come along and see. Hi, my name is Amanda from Learning to Love Well, and I am currently at the park with my kids. Well, actually, I'm in the car. My kids are at the park with my husband, and it is a mommy reset week. If you are a homeschool, there are some days that mommy needs a teacher work week where I can get all this stuff that I can't do while we're doing homeschool done. So although I can get a ton of stuff done around the homeschool day, there are things like extensive deep cleans or planting week and things like that that just benefit from my whole attention rather than me trying to just kind of move things around. And also the other thing that benefits from a teacher work week is mommy gets to reset, work at her own pace, and make sure I catch up on any grading that needs to be done, work on any planning and any ordering of curriculum that needs to be done as well. So this week is also a beneficial week for me, and the kids are loving it. They are super excited that they get to spend almost an entire week playing and doing the things that they want to do. So today we are going to be talking about the benefits to cooking. Now, I really do pray about my episodes, like every video that comes out, and sometimes I'll just get these ideas like, oh wow, that's interesting, but can I really do a whole video on it? And this was one of those videos. So I thought about doing the benefits of cooking with your kids or cooking with your kids. And I had honestly never taken the time to look into the incredible wisdom of just learning this skill with your kids and making sure that they hammer down this skill. And as I did some research on it, I realized like, wow, this is way more beneficial than I actually thought. You know, cooking, if you ever went to public school, if you had a home ec class, it was a very tiny sliver, at least in our location, of what you actually did. For like home ec class was a sliver of an elective in like middle school somewhere. And so I guess I never saw it as important, but older generations did. And so I'm going to actually get into some of those benefits. So benefit number one is obvious. By the way, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to interchange the word cooking and baking. I know they're two separate things. I know that cooking is more of an art and baking is more of a science. But for this particular video, I'm going to use those words as synonymous because hopefully you're teaching your kids both and just limping it into more like a cooking skills class. So with that out of the way, let's get into number one. Number one is super simple. It is simply learning to cook, which has its own benefits. Most people think, okay, well, I learned how to cook, but there's a lot to learning how to cook. Like, for example, food safety. Like, hey, how high of a temperature do you need to get chicken to before, you know, it's no longer considered a danger to get salmonella? Or what about pork? What about beef? You know, if you eat pork, if you eat beef. Or learning how not to overcook things, or how long can I set this out before I'm worried about bacteria. This actually kind of holds hands with food preparation and just health in general. Like, how long can I keep food in my refrigerator before it goes bad? All of those things will actually fall under cooking. So not only are they going to learn a life skill on how to cook and prepare food for themselves, but also how to keep themselves safe from not poisoning themselves. Okay, benefit number two is an outlet for creativity. Most of the time when we think art, we think painting, sculpting, drawing, but cooking also is considered an art. And if you have a child who is kinesthetic, very creative, a cooking outlet can be super beneficial for that child because it gives them another outlet to express themselves, to be creative. Even my children who are very analytical or more we'll go with analytical, love cooking. So we actually started a master books curriculum for our geography at the beginning of this school year, and it was Passport Around the World. And at the back of every country, they have a recipe. Kids have gotten the chance to try new foods from around the world, which has been really cool. And on top of that, they've gotten to learn some new skills in the kitchen, which again is a double benefit. And it's also given them some creativity, because when we did pretzels for Germany, they got to fold it however they wanted. They got to, they really got to enjoy and work on these skills, which actually leads me to number 3, which is for your little kids, is fine motor skills or motor skills. When you are folding, when you are baking, when you are changing dough over, when you are mixing in a bowl, when you are folding dough balls, cookie balls, you are working on your fine motor and your motor skills, especially for your little babies. So I have one child who is about to go into pre-K, and technically pre-K is like where this child just went to. And this has been fun. Folding pretzels, folding cookie balls, or anything that they can get their hands into is both enjoyable, they enjoy eating it, and they enjoy making it. So number 4 is build confidence. So when you feel like you can do stuff and you are equipped to handle life and the things that you need to do in life, it does build a confidence in you. When I learned how to work on my car rather than just go straight to the garage, it built confidence that I could learn new skills. When I learned how to start homeschooling my kids, it built confidence that I could homeschool my kids. The first time my child started reading, I was like, oh my goodness, I can do this. It builds confidence that God has given you the skills necessary to be able to learn how to do what you are doing. And that is a super cool feeling, and you want that for your kids. At least I want it for mine, and I love it. Number 5 is a little bit more obvious. Think measuring skills, mathematic skills. So when I'm making sourdough bread and I am allowing them to measure okay, so totally change of scenery, but the kids had to leave the park, and so we are back at home base, which is my room right now. So back to number 5 is measurements. So when you are baking, especially, you are having to use pretty precise measurements. If you are canning, you are also using precise measurements. And if you are doing some recipes, you're actually weighing by volume, and you're weighing things in grams, by weight. You are weighing things by weight on a scale, which can also be a really cool way of teaching your kids weight, both in the metric system and the standard system that we use. So because of that, teaching cooking can be beneficial for math application skills. Okay, so number 6 is going to be one that I honestly didn't think about, but the more that I thought about it, I was like, that makes so much sense, is reading comprehension skills. So if you are someone who has to test or has ever tested at a state standard or even a standard so in our state we have to test every year, some states don't, but even if you were in public school, on your reading comprehension test, most of the time, there is actually a recipe on the test that you have to both read, comprehend, and then transpose that information. When you are cooking, you are learning to do that, and you are learning to do it in a depth of understanding that far outweighs just reading the recipe, because you are learning how to learn it and then apply it. And that can be hugely beneficial, especially for those who struggle with reading comprehension. Having to stop and read a sentence or 2 sentences on the recipe and then turn around and apply it and do whatever it says can actually just connect way more of your brain, because you're actually connecting your motor skills, you're connecting all the functions to have to carry out that direction. And then you're also gaining a depth of understanding for words, new vocabulary words. So when you go to take those tests on the EOG and they have those reading comprehension sections, they'll be very familiar with the layout of a recipe. Okay, so last but not least is family time and learning healthy eating habits. So this is, I guess, 2-in-1, or at least I would consider it 2-in-1, because of the fact that learning health and learning how to cultivate healthy habits as a family is super important, especially in your eating, so that we're actually taking care of our bodies. You know, the Bible tells us that our bodies aren't just our own, right? If we've been bought with a price, if we've been bought with the blood of Jesus, that our bodies actually belong to the Lord, and we want to steward our bodies well. And one of the ways that we can do that is through learning healthy habits that we teach our kids through cooking skills. And also, when you're in the kitchen with people, you can form a bond. Whoa, sorry, I got a water tossed at me. You can form a bond that will last for generations. There are people to this day that still talk about getting in the kitchen with their parents or their grandparents. I got my kid over there making faces. And so if you are one of those people who want to also find another way to connect with your kids, cooking might be that. So you can work on skills, work on life skills, work on educational skills, and at the same time create some really cool family memories and family bonds. Well, that's about it for this video. I hope you learned something. I sure did. A little bit of research goes a long way, and I will definitely put more stock and inventory into our cooking skills in the future because of it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. God bless, and have a great day.